Hello and welcome to Eurocharged Boston. Today we have this ML550 and we're going to talk about the suspension and why we always say it's a bad idea to lower these SUVs. This is a ML550, but what we're talking about applies to 164, 166, 350, 450, 550, and 63. They're all the same. They're all exactly the same design. The main technicality, and this is really not to talk about why would you buy a SUV and then lower it, it defeats the purpose, but this is really to focus on the technicality, why you shouldn't lower the car because of the suspension design. This is the control arm, and it is currently in this position, pointing down because the car is up in the air, the wheel is dangling, and it's not, the wheel is not supporting the weight of the car. If I were to lower the car, obviously the wheel is going to move up, the whole suspension is going to move up, the spring up here is going to compress, or if we had air suspension in here, the airbag is going to compress, and the arm is going to move up, and it's going to be in almost horizontal position. When that happens, the control arm is connected to the body in 2 points. There's this 360 free bearing, and this one is not a free bearing. It does not allow a 360-degree movement. It is a limited range core, and it gives you about, let's say, 40 degrees this way and 40 degrees this way. And beyond that, you actually rip the rubber. Now, the problem with lowering, imagine if I were to adjust, either play with the computer, let it deflate the bag and lower the car a little bit, or cut the spring or change the spring, however mechanism you follow, and you lowered the car and you achieve that, in any method you want, then put the car down off the lift. The control arm is no longer gonna idle in the horizontal position. It's gonna actually be moved up a little bit. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. Now, the problem with that, as we mentioned about this bushing right here, it does not give you free range of motion. What's going to happen is, instead of this core being straight when the car is in the idle position, meaning it's not the suspension is not compressed nor in rebound position, the car is just on the ground supporting its own weight. This, in normal situation, normal ride height, this is going to be a straight line, and there will be no deformation in the rubber. You can literally see it right now, how it's deformed because the wheel is dangling down. But if the car is lowered, that gonna go away, and there's gonna be no tension in the rubber arms 1, 2, 3, and 4. The problem with lowering the car, as we mentioned, if the control arm is actually pointing up to accommodate for the lower body, this is going to happen in the opposite direction. So the arm is going to be idling in a twisted position, and the core of the bearing is going to be twisted permanently. Now imagine you hit a bump, the car jumps up in the air, the arm dangles down, perfectly fine, it goes back to the normal position. However, when the suspension compresses, it's the bearing is already twisted, and you compress the suspension, you twist it further. So before you know it, you're gonna rip the rubber in this arm, that arm, and you're gonna start losing the tension in here. And over time, you're actually the rubber is actually going to deteriorate. You're going to lose the elasticity in here, and then eventually you lose pieces of rubber, and this core is no longer providing the support. And what ends up happening is this core right here is going to wobble within the bushing, and subsequently the entire lower suspension is going to wobble in and out. And you're going to notice that the car is really hard to keep in a straight line at highway speed, or it's really hard to align it, or it wanders while you're driving down the road, all kinds of issues. This is the reason. And this is why we always say it's a bad idea to lower these cars. Good luck.